I'm going to, without further ado, let me show you this woman's video. And at first, I truly illegal traffic stop exposed how I saved my client from a DUI. So when I first watched this, like I said, I first thought that it was like an advertisement for her firm. And then after I watched it, I realized she was talking about some specific case law that every one of you should know. Every one of you should know the specific case law in this case right here.
Sometimes I get asked, hi everyone. Sometimes I get asked, what can you really do to help me with my DUI case? This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And this is David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. All right, so tell us, what can you do to help?
Well, we just had a case last week where we had a client who came into the office. He had a DUI charge. It was the second one that he's had in the past 10 years. So he was looking at having to do mandatory jail time and losing his job if he was convicted, because his employer wouldn't be able to insure him. So he hired our office.
Wow. Okay. So that sounds like a something you probably see quite often. And was there anything about this case that was different or peculiar?
Well, the way we handled it was the exact same way that we handle all of our DUI cases, and that is we look at the evidence from the beginning to the end. We start with the report, read the report, and then we compare the report with what's been given to us in the form of like a body camera or a dash camera. And so while we were reviewing this case, we noticed that the officer had indicated that he pulled the client over for not using his turn signal in the report. And then we watched the video. And as we're watching the video, we noticed that the officer, in fact, looks away to observe something to the right of him, but his body camera, which is attached to his glasses, captures that our client, in fact, used his turn signal to get into the other lane. And after he was in the other lane, the officer looked back his way. And so he walked up to the window of the car of the client and said, do you know why I pulled you over? And the client said, no. And he said, well, you didn't use your turn signal. Well, the client didn't remember whether or not he used his turn signal or not, but the body camera footage clearly showed that he did.
Wow. So this, neither one of them really knew that what had happened. And so your client comes in thinking, okay, well, I was legally pulled over, but you found out that actually he wasn't legally pulled over. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And so the next step that we do is we file a motion to suppress based on an illegal stop. That is, the officer has to have a reason. You have to violate the law before he pulls you over. And in this particular case, the officer thought the client didn't use his turn signal. So
what case law is this? Someone type it in the comment section, if you would, please. Can you type into the comment section what case law this is that she's reciting here, that without probable cause, without a warrant to pull the car over, without probable cause to stop the car, which the video evidence showed that there was no probable cause, the blinker was used. So what case law is that? There it is. So that is, but where does fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine come from? What specific case law is that? Cook versus Hastings, but what's the precedent? What's the precedent, tribe? You know, a broken clock is right twice a day. The Supreme Court got this one right. It's going to be the 1961 case of Mapp versus Ohio. Dolores Mapp. She was what they would have called a working girl or accused working girl, and a pornographer of some kind. And the police stormed into her house and seized her pornography out of her house, whatever that was, toys, whatever she was doing. And because they stormed into her house without a warrant, that when her case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, they said that it was called the poisonous fruit because you had obtained that evidence without probable cause and without a warrant. So that's what this comes from, is fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. Exactly what the lawyer is talking about in this particular case is fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. They obtained evidence without probable cause. And the only reason we found out that there was no probable cause is because of what? Because of the camera. Because the camera. Without the camera, then this never happens. The entire case never happens. It never happens. It's all because of the camera.
There has to have a reason. You have to violate the law before he pulls you over. And in this particular case,
without it, it's fruit of the poisonous tree. 1961 Mapp versus Ohio.
The officer thought the client didn't use his turn signal, so that would have been the violation of law. But in fact, the client did. So there was no reason that justified him stopping the client, and therefore the stop was illegal.
So this man, instead of having a DUI and having employment problems and everything that goes along with having a DUI, has no conviction, and the whole thing is thrown out because you found, something about the case that allowed that to happen. I mean, that made the case go away, right?
Right. And, we can routinely find these issues with DUIs. So when somebody says, what can you do to help me with my DUI? As they sit across from me at the table, and are deciding whether or not to hire our office, I can't tell them for certain. But I can tell them that if there is a legal issue, we will find it. And, that could save the day for the client.
See, but, and as good as a job as she did, as nice of a job as she did in helping her client, she didn't let you understand and know what the foundation of law is for police obtaining evidence against you without having a proper warrant or probable cause. She forgot that part. Because it's very simple now. Now you know. For example, United States versus Williams 2018. If you can give consent, you can revoke consent. It's in your trifold. So if you get pulled over and the cop says, hey, can I search your car? And you're like, I know this cop is going to search my car no matter what I do. You can give consent and say, no problem. If it's not on film, you lose. 2018 United States versus Williams says that if I can give consent, I can revoke consent. You have it on film, you have your trifold, you give consent. And right as the cop begins to search your car, you say, oh, you know what, officer? I revoke consent. You have to stop searching my car now. Because if you can give consent, you can revoke consent. He asked you if he could search your car. You said yes. Sure, you can search my car. You got out of the car. He began to search. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. You can't search. And I'm filming everything you're doing. Now on camera, if he says, I'm going to get a drug dog out here, you refer to your trifold and says, United States versus Rodriguez, unless you have reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime is in progress, or I'm committing a crime, or I'm traveling contraband, you can't extend this stop to get a drug dog. It's right here in your trifold, and you show them. And then everything caught on camera is fruit of the poisonous tree. Anything he does after that, if he says, I'm going to search your car anyway, perfect. You don't have my consent, but it's on camera. So you're going to do what you're going to do. That's now fruit of the poisonous tree. Now you understand the foundation of law. So many people, when I explain to them the 2018 case, United States versus Williams, if you're sure that that little copper is going to search your car, I give him consent. As long as everything's on camera. I can have an ounce of weed under my seat and a bag of blow and a gun under my floorboard. I can have any kind of illegal alcohol, open bottles in my console. And if he asks me to search my car and I give him consent and then I revoke consent and it's on camera and he does not respect my rights, then that is fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, and everything he finds in that search is illegal. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to get bailed out. I'm going to get charged with all these charges. And then my camera footage is going to show fruit of the poisonous tree, and the case is going to be dismissed. That's it. That's the importance of understanding the foundation of law. It's easy to know the law like this lawyer does. She sat there, she memorized it, she went to school for 3 years, she studied her ass off, she passed the bar, amazing job. You, John Q. Citizen, you understanding the foundation of law, the foundation of why I would advise you, as long as you have the trifold and as long as you have the camera and you're sure that this pig is going to search your car. So I said, give him permission. Because if it's on camera and you have given consent and then you revoke consent and he does it anyway, the first lawyer you hire or talk to, you won't need a lawyer. You need the video. And it shows that he violated your rights to illegal searches and seizure. Then he's cooked. The cop is cooked. But now you understand the foundation of law. Now you understand fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine comes from the 1961 case of Mapp versus Ohio. Here. Let's see what you see. Mapp versus Ohio. The Warren Court. We can listen to the oral arguments, but not on this particular show. I'm going to show a couple more videos. But when you get into the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, Dolores Mapp was convicted of possessing obscene materials after admittedly illegal police search of her home for a fugitive. Okay, so that was the specifics of it. Dolores Mapp was convicted for the possession of obscene materials after admittedly illegal police search of her home for a fugitive. She appealed her conviction on the basis of freedom of expression. So they went into her drawers, just so you know. They went into her dresser drawers and all this stuff. I didn't know that she was harboring a fugitive. I don't remember this part of the case. Question, were the confiscated protected materials from seizure by the Fourth Amendment? Were the confiscated materials protected from seizure by the Fourth Amendment? And this is by ideology. This is how they voted. It was a 6-3 vote with liberals on the left outvoting the conservatives 6-3. An opinion authored by Justice Tom C. Clark, the majority brushed aside First Amendment issues and declared that all evidence obtained by searches and seizures in violation of the Fourth Amendment is admissible in state court. The decision launched the court on a troubled course of determining how and when to apply the exclusionary rule. Justice Black and Douglas concurred. Justice Stewart concurred in the judgment, but agreed fully with part of Justice 1 Harlan's decision. I should read this entire thing. This should be an entire separate show where we go over every single bit of fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. But that's where it comes from. And we can get into the long form version of that. But the whole reason I wanted to show you that was so that you understood the foundation of law, of where fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine comes from. And remember, that client she had never gets off without a camera lens rolling. You have got to put your camera in your hand when you see a cop. Sorry if you back the blue. You'll back the blue till it happens to you. And when it happens to you, you better hope your camera was rolling. For people who just are just total anti, who are back the bluers all the way, I hope you're listening. I hope that you run camera when you see a copper. There's a much, much bigger goal here. We're just building a constituency of people. Share the video, like the video. When this video ends, comment on the video. We have to just build more people and more people and more people till we become the law executive. That's what has to happen, or nothing's going to change. We'll have the same dog poop system. You can get this on DeleteLawz.com. Everybody knows DeleteLawz.com. This is $30, and this is that indestructible paper. So you can destroy it, of course, if you destroy it. But if you just get it like this and then you put it back together, it'll pretty much hold up for a really long time. The one print at home is $10 download. And then if you can't afford the $6 download, just contact me or DLZ Clips. We'll send it to you for free. You can go to DeleteLawz.com with a Z, fill out the inquiry form, and I'll give this to you for free. Listen, if you get one that you buy for $7 or I send it to you for free, it goes into your spam folder for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But this will go into your spam folder when you buy it from the store.